So much has happened before a desire even occurs to you. And sometimes when a desire occurs, you think that's just the beginning, and now you go to the hard work of making that desire a reality. And that's what slows it all down. First, that you think it's hard work, and next, that you think that you have to make it a reality, and next, that you don't understand that the momentum has already begun and is well along the way. And that is the reason, in fact, that you even received the idea or the knowing of your own desire. Sometimes your desires come and they don't last very long. And the reason they don't last very long is that exhilarating feeling of new life that they are meant to feel like. The reason that that doesn't last is because you let the reality that has already manifested overshadow this new budding reality that is in the process of turning from a vibration to a thought when you received it as a desire, and now from that thought desire into the physical equivalent. We really want you to get the sense of how vibration turns to manifestation. It's a question that mankind has had for such a very long time, because you have a hard time seeing the very beginning of this magnificent time-space reality that you are now living within. It's hard to go back and understand that everything that you are seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and touching was at one time a vibration that was conceived of by a creator not so different than the creator that is now you. And so we want, in these hours that we are together, to convince you that you are a creator, that you can be a deliberate creator, that you can understand the laws of this universe. You can get in sync with the laws of the universe. You can tap in to the frequency and to the momentum that is you before you even became this physical being that you know as you. We want you to benefit by the momentum, the leverage, the clarity, the power of your beingness, and not rely so much on only the action that you or and others are able to offer. Things that are happening in your physical world aren't about the action. Oh, action's fun. And we do not disagree with you that action gets things done. You can move things from place to place. We understand how that goes. But we want you to tap into the greater power, this energy that is the inspiration for the action. Because when you become one who is reflecting in all moments, or in most moments, the intention of that broader non-physical you, when you understand that you were source energy before you came into this body, and even though you are now in this body with this personality doing these things, that non-physical part of you still exists as non-physical life force, as rejuvenation, as replenishment, as source, constantly resourcing you. So often you forget that, and so you're just banging around in your physical action, not taking the time to tune to that current. And then you measure yourself with others who are doing the same thing, and you accept very low standards of accomplishment, low standards of the way you feel, low standards of happiness. You put up with negative stuff. You squabble with one another over meaningless things, all the while denying your true power and your true current, which is in fact the reason that you want to squabble. It feels like someone else is depriving you of how you innately know you're supposed to feel. And when you're not feeling the way you are supposed to feel, which is joyful and eager and passionate, when you are not feeling the clarity and the knowing and the love and the life force that is really you, we get how you might want to point at your mother and say, you should have kind of maybe done something different, like maybe hung around with me and paved my trail for the whole rest of my life experience. And then you transfer that neediness, not all of you, almost all of you, to your lover or to your friends. In other words, always looking, it seems, outside of yourself for the replenishment that only comes from your finding and achieving and maintaining the receptive mode. This is a vibrational universe, and there is a signal that is being transmitted on your behalf to you and about you, but you've got to get in the vibrational vicinity. Just like the transmitter and the tuner that you know as your radio signal. That tower is beaming a signal, but if you don't dial into it, you don't receive. You're not receptive. You don't hear what's being broadcast unless you tune in. And this is the same way. So you were source energy. You came into this body, a part of you into this body, just like you knew you wanted to. It's the perfect process. And you sift through the variety in this new leading edge environment. And you, importantly, come to your own conclusions about what you, importantly, prefer. So when you carve something out that you desire, sometimes, especially in the early stages of it, you're not really even so aware that you're asking for it. Sometimes it's just, you know what you don't want, which is an automatic knowing at vibrational levels of what you do want. So you're launching these rockets of desires and preferences as you are evolving and becoming as this life form here in this physical body. And that emanation of those preferences is all marked by you. It has your vibrational DNA, so to speak, on it. You are launching these rockets, and you and everything that you have been before you were you in this physical body expands because of your exposure to life, because of your sifting and sorting and knowing what you don't want and knowing what you do want. So you're becoming and becoming, but we want to say to you, you've got to know who we mean by you when we say you or your. You, the larger part of you, is becoming because of what you, the physical part of you, is exploring. Your inner being is becoming more and more and more knowing, more desiring of more things, more vibrationally attractive. And what we mean by that is, with everything you ask for, your inner being becomes the vibrational equivalent of it. If you don't have enough money, and you're asking, whether you're using words or not, you are, for more, your inner being, that source part of you that was before you were you and is even while you are you, becomes more prosperous as a result of your asking. Because when you ask, it is given. And there is a part of you that receives what you're asking for and what is given instantaneously. You haven't learned to do that. You've got too many beliefs in the way. You don't let yourself ask and receive. You ask and source gives to that larger part of you, but you say, oh, I don't know. I don't really feel worthy. Or I'm mad about everything that hasn't come to me. Or I'm upset about those who are getting more than it looks to me like is their fair share. Or. In other words, so often you are so busy facing the reality of what is that you don't let the new becoming become. So even though so much happened that caused this desire to happen within you, for just a moment, for a split second often, you receive that desire and you feel the elation of it. You can feel your evolution in that moment, and then we love you so much, you get practical. You face reality, you weigh the pros and the cons, you check out the odds. You don't believe in your desire that is just born. And the only reason that you don't right away believe in a new desire that is born is because you've practiced the opposition of it for so long. As you've been using as your criteria people who are not in the receptive mode, who are banging it out through hard work and action, who are not using the leverage that creates worlds. Some are, and you call them masters. And some are, and you're amazed at what they accomplish. Some are, and they just knock you over with their clarity and their power and their attractive power, their ability to accomplish and to draw to them. They amaze you and so often confound you, because it feels to you like you mean well. It feels to you like you too are good. It feels to you that you are deserving or you want to be deserving. But instead of being a vibrational match to what you're asking for, so often you are a vibrational match to what you've got. And things can't change if you are a vibrational match to what you've got. Things are always changing, but they keep changing to whatever it is you are giving your attention to. So it's different faces, different places, but more of the same essence. In other words, it's sort of the same struggle for most people because they are so enamored with what is. People say, I believe I should face reality. And we say, we get that, but you did not come to face reality, to regurgitate reality, to document reality, to hold yourself in sync with reality. You came to create reality. You came to create new reality. You came to let this magnificent time-space reality inspire you to improvement, to new preferences, because you understood that if this time-space reality can cause you to desire something, to launch that rocket. You knew before you came into this body that once that rocket was launched, once that vibrational becoming had happened, that your inner being, that which you want to call God, that source that we want to call the resource of that which is everything, will join that thought, and the law of attraction will respond to it, and your idea, your vision, your desire, your wanting will become a reality, and you get to be the witness of it. We want you to be the witness of your desire turning to the manifestations that you have asked for. We want you to understand that if you could just understand that that is your work, to witness it, not to make it happen. You don't get into your automobile and ever have the urge to get under the hood and be part of the engine and make it go. I'll just tug along on these pulleys for a little while today. That never occurs to you. You understand that there is another engine, another force, another mechanism, and you do what you are meant to do. You decide where you want to go, and you point in the right direction, and you make the correcting changes all along the way. You guide yourself to where you want to be, and that's what you are wanting to do here. You are the chooser of where you want to be. Law of attraction is the engine that will bring it about. But your mechanism, your function, your success, your happiness, which is the success that we're really talking about, is all about your finding vibrational alignment with what you're asking for. In the beginning of Esther allowing us to flow through her, while she found, because she was in the receiving mode, perfect words to match the vibration that we were presenting, her words said, if you desire something and believe it, then it is. Because when desire and belief are in the same place, there is no resistance, and resistance is the only thing that prevents anything from happening, and happening right away. So you were born with this emotional guidance system that lets you know what you're doing vibrationally. It lets you know how in the receiving mode for the desires that your life has caused you to launch, you are or are not in any point in time. The better you feel, the more in alignment you are. The worse you feel, the more out of alignment you are. And there is a momentum about every thought that you think. Your thoughts matter a lot. What you think matters so much. Because what you think is always having a relational experience with what the source within you thinks about exactly the same thing. So when you think, I'm not a good person, you feel strong negative emotion because your inner being will never agree with that. If you think this is going to be very difficult, you'll feel concern, maybe even depression, certainly discouragement, because your thought that this is going to be difficult does not jive at all with your inner being's knowledge of the power of the universe and this ease and flow of you directing your thoughts simply. But you've forgotten how to offer pure thoughts. You've been trained into such objectiveness. You weigh the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses. Let me stack this all up in order to make a decision. And we say, you kill every desire with your thoughts that make you feel doubt. I want this, but, oh, it'd be really nice to have that, but I wasn't born to the right people, or I wasn't born at the right time, or I wasn't born, it is not going to happen to me. And so you offer contradictory thoughts, and because you think they're reasonable, you don't even know that you're doing it. But when you start living life vibrationally, when you start living life emotionally, when you accept the emotions that you feel as your guidance system, then you come to understand that everything that you are thinking has a vibrational offering, and every vibrational offering has a relationship with what source within you knows about the same thing. So the better you feel, the less gap you have, which means the less resistance you have, which means the more power you are allowing to flow, which means the more attraction power that you have, which means the more cooperative components are coming to you, which means you are not in that moment of joy or clarity or fun or laughter or eagerness or passion. You are not offering a resistant vibration. And you don't have to keep that up very long in terms of your time before those thoughts have turned to things. And that's the part that we want to remind you. That's the part that so often you've forgotten. When you are thinking thoughts from the receptive mode, those thoughts are turning not only quickly, but to wonderful things.